Summer's just around the corner, and the folks at Mint Mobile have a hot take. Getting the summer bod is out, and getting your savings bod is in. This spring and summer, we want skimpy wireless bills and fat wallets. And with premium wireless plans for just $15 a month, you can have both without breaking the sweat or the bank. I was paying way too much for wireless service and decided to give Mint Mobile a try. And I've been seriously impressed. The call quality is crystal clear, the data speeds are fast, and I'm saving hundreds of dollars. It's the easiest switch I ever made, and I didn't have to sacrifice a thing. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/RLRC. That's mintmobile.com/RLRC. Upfront payment of $45 for a 3-month, 5 gigabyte plan required. It's equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And I am Cindy Overton. Woody asked me to do a pickup today intro for today's podcast. We got hung up on a few things. Woody wasn't able to record this week. So thankfully, Mr. P.T. Allen has sent me a few more stories for instances like this, and I am going to share one of his stories. So y'all enjoy and happy Saturday.
Good afternoon and welcome to sunny South Georgia. I am not Woody Overton. I'm P.T. Allen, and I'm going to record this today just in case Miss Cindy and Trooper Woody need a day off. I thought I'd go ahead and record this, get it done with. However, be patient with me. This is the weekend of the air show in South Georgia, and I am directly in the flight line of the air show, which means the United States Navy Blue Angels in their FA-18 Super Hornets might be passing directly over me at any moment. So when I hear them coming, I'm going to have to pause. Bear with me. And all of you out there, please continue to pray for the Overton family. Grief is complex. I know everything you read says there's 5 stages to grief, but in those 5 stages, there is not a timeline. Grief does not have a calendar. It does not have a limit. You don't punch a clock. Please continue to pray for the family and let them work this out in their own time. I know this because I lost a daughter a few years ago. Many times I have heard Mr. Woody describe frequent flyers. And those of you who have never worked in law enforcement, you might not realize exactly what a frequent flyer was or is. That's somebody who gets arrested for committing a crime, most often in a officer's presence. And I had one heck of a frequent flyer in my law enforcement career. As I told you, I started with a small police department and got recruited away for a lot more money by the sheriff's office. And I don't know of anybody in the economy we had back then who could survive simply on the salary paid to a law enforcement officer. I certainly couldn't. I had not gained custody of my daughters yet. And back in those days, in the early 90s, $862 a month child support was a lot of money, so I worked a part-time job. I've told you back in those days, I was considered a pretty competent gunsmith. And in all honesty, I made more money by accident as a gunsmith than I ever made in law enforcement. So I would work my 12-hour shifts pretty much 3 or 4 days a week. We had those rotating 3 on, 4 off shifts. And the rest of the time, I would work as a gunsmith. The local bait and tackle shop, which also sold firearms, set me up a workbench behind a little wall back in the rear of the shop so I could work on firearms. They did not charge me any rent. They allowed me to work there with free electricity because of the amount of business that I brought into their shop. If somebody's coming in to see me, they're also going to buy ammunition, slings, optic scopes, all manner of accessories. So it worked out well for the both of us. So I'd been a law enforcement officer for several years, and one afternoon I'm back there working on a firearm, and the guy who was the counter man running the store that day, I'm going to call him Mr. Jerry, a decorated United States Marine Corps veteran from Vietnam, served 2 tours, and just one of the greatest people you'll ever meet in your life. He was working the counter, and in comes this woman. Of course, my attention is focused on the firearm that I'm working on, customizing. It was a gentleman who had an accuracy problem. He wasn't hitting what he was pointing at with his rifle, and that was kind of my specialty. I really enjoyed that. So I've got my attention focused on the firearm, and I hear this woman say, "I want to buy a fishing license." And Mr. Jerry says, "Do you have your identification?" And she replies, "No." Or correction. Jerry says, "Do you have your driver's license?" And she replies, "I don't have a driver's license." Well, that's some kind of identification is required. So Jerry says, "Do you have a state issued identification card?" She says, "No." And I recognize her voice. I recognize her as what Woody calls a frequent flyer, in quotation marks. And I'm going to use her real first and middle name. It was Mary Alice. And Mr. Jerry asked Mary Alice, "Do you know your social security number by heart?" And she says, "No." And that's when it occurs to me. I spoke up, and I raised up above the work I was doing, and I said, 25455, and gave Mr. Jerry the remainder of Mary Alice's social security number. And if you're wondering, I'm not using her last name because that's kind of like the movie Beetlejuice. If you say the name 3 times, that demon is going to appear. I had arrested her for drug offenses, burglary, theft, prostitution, as difficult as that was to imagine. I can't see her having a whole lot of customers waiting in line. And that is what a frequent flyer truly is. If the cop that has arrested you a bunch of times has memorized your social security number, having typed out that report repeatedly, you know you're a frequent flyer. And she got her fishing license, and she went fishing that day. Everything ended well. So that's what Mr. Woody means by a frequent flyer. Later, keep in mind I'd worked for a police department for 5 years, a sheriff's office for 5 years, then got recruited to our state patrol. And in my early days, I was working a whole lot of traffic. I hadn't been recognized as being a good instructor yet, hadn't been recognized as being a good investigator. So I pretty much had basic state trooper duties, working traffic on the highways, an investigation now and then, and not any of what I considered was the fun stuff. So one afternoon, I'm out on a interstate highway, 2 lanes in either direction, 4-lane highway divided by a median, and I was at my favorite place to work. It was on Interstate number 20 at mile marker 160. I absolutely loved that place. You never knew what you were going to find. I had about 2,200 yards as vehicles came around a corner, and in Georgia, the limit is 500 feet where they could see you. I had 2,200 or 2,500 yards where they could see me before I saw them, and I was operating laser speed detection. The reason that this was a great place is not so much the speed that put people's lives and property in danger, but you never knew what you were going to find. I ran across rolling domestics where the male driver was punching his wife in the face as they went down the highway. I found rolling meth labs, which these guys are cooking meth in a white Ford panel van going down the interstate, taking it to Augusta, Georgia to sell for a profit. I found a lot of weed, which, hey, if you got less than an ounce on you, I don't care. That is your personal stash. Dump it out on the roadway, kick it into the dirt, and you're free to go. But if you got 58 pounds, yeah, that's for sale, and that's going to kids, school children, people that don't have any business getting that weed. So I really had a lot of fun there. I really enjoyed it and enjoyed enforcing the law there. I enjoyed it so much, at one point, my fellow officers, remember, if you've not heard my police brutality recording, where I tell about how cruel we were to each other, that might be one to go back and listen to. My fellow officers hung a cardboard sign 2 feet by 3 feet on the opposite side of the bridge in huge black letters on this cardboard sign, PT's Perch, so people would know who was going to lock them up as they came around the corner. Thanks, guys. So one afternoon, I'm sitting there minding my own business, not bothering a soul. I rarely stopped a vehicle that was less than 90 miles per hour in a 70 zone. Those are the people that are putting your family, your children in danger, and your property in danger. So that was pretty much my limit. I'm sitting there running laser, having a good time. It was a great day. Oh, I'd already stopped several and actually found locked up a guy that day for possession of Vicodin, a narcotic, with intent to distribute. He had a bunch, well over 300 pills. And that's dangerous stuff. And if you didn't know that, go back and watch episodes of the TV show House, where the doctor gets addicted to Vicodin. It's pretty detrimental. This particular afternoon, as I'm sitting there, I get a call from dispatch back at Post 25 Thompson, and shout out to one of the best dispatchers on earth. I'm going to call him Stuart. He hasn't given me permission to release his last name. And he calls me, he says, 469, my badge number, be on the lookout for a dark blue or royal blue Hyundai Sonata with dark tinted windows, 2 male occupants. He goes on to elaborate, the driver just shot the front right tire off of a semi in a fit of road rage. Well, we've got this big blue book that is titled Official Code of Georgia Annotated. That is Georgia law. And in that book, that says, you can't do that shit. That's wrong. So I start looking for said vehicle. No more than 5 minutes later, a royal blue, dark blue, Daewoo Laganza, of all things, with dark tinted windows, comes around the corner, but it is only occupied by one male. What caught my attention was, in a 70 mile per hour zone, he was traveling 45 miles per hour in the fast lane. So that can tell me, hey, he's fallen asleep, he's been driving too long, he's under the influence, he's lost, maybe he's having vehicle mechanical difficulties. I'm willing to help this guy any way I can, even if that is the person that shot the tire off the tractor trailer truck. So I lock him in at 45 and a 70 in my handy dandy laser speed detection device, which I am still certified and trained to use. And I head out to the interstate to pull him over. As soon as he sees the blue lights behind him, he jets. He guns it. Now, this is in my early days. I was driving a 2000 Ford Crown Victoria. The top speed of that vehicle is 128 miles per hour before the governor kicks on, and it won't go any faster than that.
Hey, lifers, Woody Overton here, and I want to talk to y'all about something that's come up around our house more than once lately: hormones. Now, I can't speak from personal experience on this one, but I've seen it firsthand with Cindy. There were days she'd be feeling drained, overwhelmed, even a little off. We couldn't figure out why. She was eating right, taking care of herself, getting things done like always, but something just wasn't clicking. Turns out it wasn't just stress. It wasn't just being tired. She took this free 2-minute quiz from a company called Happy Mammoth, and it gave her some serious insight into what might be going on with her hormone levels. After answering just a few simple questions, she got personalized breakdown, and one of the main things it pointed out was that her body may be overloaded with estrogen. That's when we found Hormone Harmony, Happy Mammoth's plant-based herbal formula designed to support your hormone levels, stress response, and overall well-being. Since Cindy started taking Hormone Harmony, she said it's made a noticeable difference. Things like occasional bloating, low energy, and those mild mood dips, all less frequent. And it didn't take a huge lifestyle overhaul to see those changes. Just a small daily habit that fit right into her routine. Now listen, this isn't some one-size-fits-all deal. This quiz gives you personalized recommendations so you can understand what's going on in your body and what might help you feel better. Whether it's Hormone Harmony or one of their other hormone support products, you'll know exactly where to start. And here's the thing. Happy Mammoth has helped thousands of women. They have over 40,000 5-star reviews, and a bottle of Hormone Harmony sells every 24 seconds. That many folks can't be wrong. Ready to start feeling like yourself again? Head over to happymammoth.com and take their free 2-minute hormone quiz today to find the ultimate answer to your stubborn hormonal issues. And for a limited time, you can also get 15% off your entire first order with my code RLRC at checkout. That's HAPPYMAMMOTH.com and use the code RLRC for 15% off today. Did you know there's an online cannabis company that ships federally legal THC right to your door? And they found a way to combine THC with carefully selected functional ingredients to target nearly every mood and health concern you can think of. I'm talking about Mood.com's incredible line of functional gummies. And you can get 20% off your first order at Mood.com with promo code RLRC. Forget one-size-fits-all supplements that only get you high. Mood's functional gummies are optimized to kick in as little as 15 minutes and take you to the mood that you're looking for. Whether that's Mind Magic gummies for deep work and creativity, PMS support to ease cramps and balance mood swings, or their sexual euphoria gummies to help you feel ready for action and turn every touch into a full body experience. Look, y'all, you know I have trouble sleeping. I take the Sleepy Time gummy. I take a quarter of one before I go to sleep, and I sleep hard all night long. Never even move, wake up feeling fresh as a daisy. So listen, you can find gummies to just get you high pretty much anywhere these days. But Mood's functional gummies combine premium federal legal THC with targeted botanicals to help you get into that perfect mood, usually in as little as 15 minutes. And everything ships discreetly right to your door. No dispensary lines, no awkward conversations, just better days and nights delivered to your doorstep. Best of all, not only is every Mood product backed by a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as I mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with code RLRC. So head to Mood.com, find the functional gummy that matches exactly what you're looking for, and let Mood help you discover your perfect mood. And don't forget to use promo code RLRC when you check out to save 20% on your first order.
Up until this point, I did not have a whole lot of respect for machinery made in South Korea, with the exception of the Daewoo full auto machine gun that I had fired in practice while in the DMZ, demilitarized zone in South Korea. And that thing was awesome. It used the same magazines and cartridges that our U.S. issue M16 rifles used, and it was a nice piece of machinery. But Korean automobiles, I did not like them one bit. And I'll still say that today because of my wife's Hyundai Azera, which has been nothing but a pain in the butt. So I get in behind this guy, and he jets. All I can do is 128. He's doing in the lower 140 mile an hour zone. The chase is on. We cross over the county line from Warren County, Georgia, into McDuffie County, Georgia, and he's hauling tail, and I'm doing my best just to keep a visual on him. I haven't even gotten a tag number yet. So as we get into McDuffie County, we're approaching an exit, and underneath the exit is a sheriff's department car parked in the shade, and to this very day, I'm going to say the deputy in that car was dead asleep and could not hear the radio traffic that I was in high-speed pursuit. I had other troopers coming to assist me, and I was going to get this guy. Well, this guy sees the deputy underneath the overpass in the shade, didn't know he was asleep. Our offender thought, this must be a trap. So our bad guy decides to take the exit rather than get close to the deputy who I think is asleep. He takes an exit and turns to the right. At that point in time, there was another county deputy who I will call Mark in a convenience store. And Mark was getting himself a cup of coffee and a glazed donut with vanilla, white icing, and sprinkles on top. Deputy Mark did not hear my radio traffic or transmissions until he got out to his car. Apparently he had his handheld radio turned down kind of low, and as he's getting back to his car, he hears that I am in a high-speed pursuit, and I've got, at this point, a few other troopers with me, including my post commander, Sergeant First Class Mark Bentley, one of the greatest law enforcement officers I've ever met, and a great leader, a great guy. And yes, he's given me permission to use his name. As I'm headed up the off-ramp, going to apprehend this guy that has committed felony fleeing, reckless driving, speeding in the parameters of super speeder in Georgia, and several other traffic offenses. Not sure if this is the guy who shot the tire off the semi yet. My transmission goes out. So Sergeant Bentley passes me, and I can't get out of third gear. The transmission will not shift, and this guy is just walking away from me. So I mentioned the other Mark coming out of the convenience store with his cup of coffee and his donut with vanilla white cream icing and sprinkles on top. He opens the door of his patrol car, sets his cup of coffee in the cup holder, and he has the donut in his right hand. He hears my radio traffic and thinks, oh, I should go block this road so this high-speed pursuit does not go past the school zone and endanger any school children that might be leaving school that day. Excellent idea. Good job, Deputy Mark. No sooner had he pulled out in the roadway, he gets hit head on by this blue blue Daewoo Laganza, and totals his vehicle. Now you're probably asking, Captain Pablo, how did you know the donut was in his right hand? Because when the airbag deployed, it shoved that donut straight into his right eye. Deputy Mark, God love him, he's such a great guy and a courageous, excellent law enforcement officer. Oh, he just did a stellar job. However, let's talk about his skin tone. He was about 3 shades darker than the phone I'm holding in my right hand right now. Past sunset, if he had his eyes closed and wasn't smiling, he'd be pretty much invisible. He had a dark complexion. When the airbag deployed, that shoved that donut onto his right eye. Of course, once he recovered from the collision, he jumps out and starts pursuing the suspect, who is then fled on foot. GSP Sergeant Bentley had already had a 10-second head start on me and about a 15-second start on Deputy Mark, and we start chasing this guy on foot. Sergeant Bentley jumped out only with the sidearm that was on his hip. I grabbed Mr. Shotgun. At that point in time, we were issued Mossberg brand model 590 AC1, the short barrel 14-inch 12-gauge pump action shotgun. I grabbed that sucker because I have no idea what this offender is capable of doing. I could run pretty fast back in those days in my youth, and I was just getting ready to pass GSP Sergeant Bentley when I racked my shotgun. And that is a language everybody on earth understands. When you hear that chink chink of a shotgun, that means your ass has had a bad day. No sooner did I rack the shotgun when our suspect disappeared. There was a retention pond out there in the woods, dug in a perfect square with perfect horizontal banks. There was no going into shallow water. You went from dry ground to chest deep water. This guy disappeared. He turns around and looks at Sergeant Bentley and I and said, I didn't do nothing. And at that point in time, he had a Colt Python pistol in his right hand. He tossed it over his right shoulder and said, what are y'all chasing me for? Now, let's back up just a little bit. a .357 Magnum caliber Colt Python pistol. If you have one in blue steel, and in very good condition, I will pay you $2,500 for that right now. DM me. Yeah, I'll take it. However, the vehicle this guy was driving was less than $1,500. I don't think he came across that pistol in an honest manner. So at this point, Sergeant Bentley has drawn his .40 caliber Glock Model 22, pointed it right between the suspect's eyes. I have that Mossberg 590A1 pointed right between his eyes, and we coax him to come get out of the water. I take him into custody. Soaking wet, I got him in handcuffs, got to walk him back that 300 yards to my patrol car to take him into custody, and that was kind of a long trek. As I get back, other troopers have started investigating the crash where our offender has hit Deputy Mark head on, and probably at that time traveling about 70 miles an hour. When the airbag went off, that concussion, that explosion, shoved the donut onto Deputy Mark's right eye. That left him with a white ring with sprinkles around his right eye, and much to my surprise, none of the other troopers or deputies told this very dark-complected deputy that he had a white ring around his eye. He looked like a negative of the dog that used to be in the Little Rascals, My Gang short movies from my youth. That dog was solid white and had a black ring around his right eye. Deputy Mark was solid black and had a white ring around his right eye. And nobody told him a word. So I take our offender to the county jail, and Sergeant Bentley calls in Georgia Department of Transportation to drain this retention pond, which they do, and they recover a stolen Colt Python revolver, .357 Magnum, in great condition, other than the fact that it needed a good cleaning, with one round of ammunition left. Our suspect had used 2 rounds of ammunition shooting the tire off a moving semi and had 1 left. So where's the other 3? Why does he have 3 other empty casings in that revolver when it holds 6 rounds? I don't know. I don't care. All I know is I'm taking this joker to jail. Aggravated assault, reckless driving, all this kind of stuff. And I take him to the jail, and for those of you in law enforcement, or if Woody hasn't told you, by the time we get our report typed out, the criminal has already bonded out. Not this time. I return to my post, which is what you would think of as my headquarters, and I'm typing this report out on a manual typewriter. Yeah, I know, I'm old. And all of a sudden, dispatch yells out, "You got a phone call." I pick up the phone, and this guy says, "This is Detective," I can't remember his name, Smith, Jones, Wojciechowicz from Barney Miller, I can't remember. He says, "We'd like to come pick up the name of that suspect." And I said, "Okay, sure. Anytime you like, as soon as he bonds out on the charges that I have here." And this detective says, "Well, he killed 2 men in a drug deal gone bad last night here in Atlanta. I'd really like to come talk to him." That puts me at a disadvantage. Yes, detective, you come pick him up. You can have him. when he bonds out from you, I'll have somebody pick him up and take him back to this county to face our charges. Murder pretty much outweighs everything. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking and sharing. Please continue to keep the Overton family in your prayers. Just because the funeral's over doesn't mean the grieving is over. Miss Cindy and Mr. Woody, I know all your listeners love you and think the world of you, as Miss Angela and I do. Keep up the good work. Thank you, and justice for Haley. Please hashtag justice for Haley. That draws more attention to that cause. And good night.